Have you ever been in tournaments where you've missed critical triggers, or maybe missed what your opponent is playing in later rounds? Well, today we're going to be exploring tips and tricks on how to improve your focus in TCG tournaments. Welcome back to TCG Psychology, the channel where we turn psychological concepts into competitive advantages. Now, this week we're going to be looking at focus and how you can utilize strategies to improve your focus during those long tournament days. At its core, focus is about attending to the right thing at the right time and in the right way. In TCGs, this can be the difference between dealing with your opponent's win condition or losing that game by just a couple of points. When it comes to TCG performances, our best performances come when we're fully immersed in the moment, in the here and now, the present. When we're distracted by the past or what mistakes we previously made in round one, or thinking too far into the future and what results we need to make top cut, then our present performance is going to suffer because we're not in that present moment. When it comes to performing in TCGs, our focus will shift between 4 different dimensions of attention depending on the current needs. And we might rely on some of these more heavily than others, but throughout the day we'll be shifting between these attentional styles. Now the first is broad external, so this is where we're assessing the situation. We could be looking at round to see how much time is left on the clock. We could be trying to find our table number and our opponent. Those are the situations where we'll have a broad external focus style. The next is a narrow external focus style, and this is where we're performing. So when we're sat down across from our opponent, we're watching what they're doing, the lines of play that they're making, what combos they're trying to pull off, and what their attack patterns are. Next, we shift into a broad internal. So this is where we are analysing the situation. Based on what our opponent has just done, we're then trying to figure out what our optimal lines of play are and what course of action we should take. And then finally, we might shift into a narrow internal, and this is where we were rehearsing. So we might be aware of our current emotional state and realise that we might be acting too fast. So that's where we might employ deep breathing techniques, etc., like we've spoken about in previous videos, to calm ourselves down. And we'll shift between these at varying points in the day, but ultimately we might lean into more such as a narrow external or a broad internal more consistently throughout our TCG performance. Being able to focus is important in TCGs and especially in large tournaments. There are lots of things that can distract us which can take us away from our optimal lines of play, and these can be both external and internal. External things that can distract us include your opponent, other games that are going on around you, or even the judges. Internal distractions can come from thinking about a mistake you made in round one, thinking about who your next opponent is going to be, even if you're in the middle of a game, or even thinking about what you need to do to make top cut. Being able to improve your focus can improve your TCG gameplay by allowing you to remember key triggers at key moments, reading the board state more effectively, and not overexerting yourself in those early rounds. When it comes to developing focus, the techniques that you use should allow you to prioritize what important information is happening right now. So remember, focus is about attending to the right thing at the right time in the right way. So we need to be able to remind ourselves what is the most important information for us to see at that moment. Now, one way that we can do this is through cue words, and using something such as slow can enable you to remember what to do in that moment. So one keyword that I like to use is slow, and slow stands for state of the board. So I'm reminding myself that I need to look at my board state and my opponent's board state to figure out what needs to be dealt with initially. Look at your hand, so remind yourself what cards you have in your hand, what potential answers do you have. Opponent's cards, so what could they possibly have that might count to the play that you're going to make? How likely is it that they're going to have that card? Remember, you can look at discard piles in most TCGs to see how many copies of a certain cards they've already used, and then what's going to win. So at the end of the day, out of all the lines of play possible, what is going to set me up with the most chance of winning in that moment? By going through this process, I'm prioritizing information in particular moments of the game that sets me up with the best chance of winning. So by going through slow, I'm looking at the board state, looking at my cards, considering what my opponent might have, and then deciding what is the most likely course of action that is going to allow me to win this game. Now, you don't need to use the acronym SLOW, you can come up with something on your own, but it should be a short keyword that you can use at key moments of the game to remind yourself, what is the information that I need to know now to set myself up for success? Another way that we can maintain focus during long tournament days is by relying on physical cues as well. So when it comes to acting out our own plays or understanding our opponent's plays, by physically pointing at cards and walking yourself through those steps, you're reminding yourself again what is the important information in these situations. We're not just unconsciously taking that information in, but by adding that physical cue, we're enabling ourselves to draw our attention to what is going on in that moment. And again, that can be the difference between remembering a trigger or missing a key trigger at that moment of the game. Thank you for joining me again today as we talked about focus. In the comment section below, I'd like you to share your tips and tricks with the community on how you maintain focus during long tournament days. If you like this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn the notifications on so you're notified when future videos are uploaded. If you know someone that could benefit with some tips on maintaining focus during TCG tournaments, feel free to share this video with them. And until next time, make sure you win the mind game meta.